You know what's crazy? I talk to people making six figures who are stressed out of their minds about money. And then I talk to people making half that who sleep like babies because they know exactly what they're doing with their finances. The difference isn't their salary. It's not their job title. It's not even how smart they are about investing. There's one specific skill that separates people who earn $200K and feel poor from people who earn $80K and feel wealthy. And I'm willing to bet you don't have it yet. Because if you did, you wouldn't be watching this video. My name is Marvin, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some of the highest earners in the world are some of the worst at actually building wealth. If you're someone who wants to understand the real skill behind making real money instead of just chasing bigger paychecks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it changes how you think about your income. Here's the thing that most people miss. When you ask someone what they need to earn more money, they'll tell you the same tired answers. Get better at your job, negotiate your salary, start a side hustle, learn to code. All of that is fine, but it's also completely missing the point. Because earning more money without this one skill is like pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour faster and faster, but you'll never actually fill it up. I'm talking about the skill of income allocation. And before you think that sounds boring, hear me out. This is the difference between someone making $200K and going broke and someone making $60K and building generational wealth. Income allocation is the ability to intentionally decide where every dollar goes before you spend it. It sounds simple, almost stupidly simple, but most people never actually do it, which is why most people stay broke no matter how much they earn. Think about how the average person handles money. Paycheck comes in, bills get paid, they spend on whatever feels good. If there's anything left over at the end of the month, they might save it. That's not allocation. That's hoping. That's crossing your fingers and praying that next month works out better than this month did.
But people who earn $200K and actually build wealth, they do something completely different. They get paid. And before they spend a single dollar, they've already allocated that money into specific buckets. Some goes to taxes, some goes to essential expenses, some goes to debt payoff, some goes to investments, some goes to lifestyle. Everything has a place. Everything has a purpose. The order matters. The percentages matter. The consistency matters. Here's where it gets really interesting. And this is something that will probably surprise you. The skill of income allocation actually matters more than the income itself. I know that sounds crazy. How could allocating $60K possibly be more important than earning $200K? But think about it mathematically. If you earn $200K but allocate it poorly, you might end up with $5,000 in net worth after 5 years. If you earn $60K but allocate it brilliantly, you could have $250,000 in net worth in that same time frame. The math doesn't care about your salary. It cares about your allocation strategy. Most people think wealth building is about finding the right investment. Like if they can just pick the right stock or cryptocurrency or real estate deal, everything will magically work out. That's not how it works. Wealth building is 80% about allocation and 20% about returns. You could have the worst investment returns in history and still build serious wealth if you allocate properly. You could have the best investment returns ever and still end up broke if your allocation is garbage. Let me tell you exactly what proper income allocation looks like. And I want you to listen carefully, because this is the framework that separates people who build wealth from people who just spend a lot of money. Step 1, calculate your true take-home. When your paycheck hits your account, that's not the full number. Taxes have already been taken out. So first, you need to know exactly what you're actually working with. If you earn $200K gross, you might be looking at $130 to $140K in actual take-home, depending on where you live. Start there. That's your real number. Step 2, lock down essential expenses. Before you allocate anything else, you need to know exactly what it costs to keep yourself alive. Housing, utilities, food, insurance, transportation basics, not luxury stuff, just the essentials. This number should be about 35% to 40% of your take-home pay for most people. If you're spending more than that on essentials, that's your first problem to solve. You can't build wealth if your basic costs are eating up half your income. Step 3, emergency fund. Once you know what your essentials cost, you need to build a buffer. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses sitting in a savings account. Nothing invested, nothing risky, just cash. This protects you from making desperate financial decisions when life throws a curveball, and life always throws curveballs. Step 4, high-interest debt payoff. If you're carrying credit card debt or any high-interest loans, these get priority. Not optional, not whenever you get around to it. This is step 4 for a reason. Credit card debt at 22% interest will destroy your wealth building faster than almost anything else. Every dollar you throw at this is a guaranteed 22% return. That's better than Warren Buffett's long-term average. Step 5, employer match. If your employer offers retirement matching, you should contribute enough to get the full match, even if you haven't finished paying off high-interest debt. That's because employer matching is a guaranteed 100% return. It's literally free money. Your employer is handing you cash if you just take it. Step 6, tax-advantaged retirement accounts. Once employer matching is locked in, max out your IRA contributions, then your HSA if you're eligible. Then go back and max out your 401k beyond the match. These accounts are the most powerful wealth-building tools available because they give you tax benefits on the way in and the way out. Most people completely ignore these because they're not as flashy as picking individual stocks. Step 7, taxable investments. Only after you've maximized every tax-advantaged option should you start investing in regular taxable accounts. This is where people want to start, but it should actually be where you end, because every dollar sitting in a taxable account is being taxed every year on dividends and capital gains. It's the least efficient place to keep money, so it should be the last place you put money.
Step 8, lifestyle allocation. Finally, whatever is left after all this is yours to spend on lifestyle. Vacations, nice dinners, entertainment, hobbies. But here's the key. This comes last, not first. Most people do it backwards. They spend on lifestyle first and hope there's something left for investment. That's backwards. Now here's where this gets really powerful. And this is why the skill of income allocation is so much more important than earning more money. Once you nail this framework, you can apply it at any income level and build wealth consistently. Let's say you're making $60,000 take home. That's $5,000 per month. Following this allocation, essentials might be $1,800 to $2,000. That leaves $3,000 to $3,200 for the other categories. Even if you're starting from zero on emergency fund and you've got some debt, within 6 months you could have your emergency fund in place and be aggressively paying down debt. Within a year, you could have debt paid off and be maxing out employer matching. Within 2 years, you could be funding an IRA. Within 3 years, you could be building taxable investments. Someone making $60,000 with proper allocation beats someone making $200,000 with bad allocation almost every time. Because allocation is a skill you can control. Income is often based on circumstances, timing, luck, and factors outside your control. But allocation? That's 100% in your control. Here's what makes this even more powerful. Once you understand allocation, you start seeing money completely differently. You stop thinking about how much you earn and start thinking about how much you keep. You stop making emotional spending decisions and start making strategic ones. You realize that a $50,000 car purchase isn't just a car. It's $50,000 that could have grown to $200,000 in 20 years. That's not being cheap. That's understanding opportunity cost. People who earn $200,000 and actually stay rich understand this in their bones. They're not impressed by big salaries because they know a big salary without allocation is just a fast way to go broke. They're impressed by people who can take whatever they earn and turn it into actual wealth.
And here's something that will probably surprise you. The people who are best at allocation are often the people who had to learn it early. The people who grew up with money often have terrible allocation skills because they never had to learn them. But someone who grew up poor or middle class and worked their way up, they understand the value of every dollar because they've had to. They know what it feels like to not have enough, so they're ruthless about allocation. This is why I see people with $30,000 salaries building more wealth than people with $300,000 salaries. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the skill of knowing exactly where every dollar goes and being disciplined enough to execute that plan month after month, year after year. Let me tell you what happens when you master this skill. Your relationship with money completely changes. You stop feeling like money controls you. You feel like you control money. You stop being anxious about your bank account because you know exactly what's happening with it. You stop making impulsive purchases because every dollar has been allocated before you earn it. You start sleeping better at night because there's a plan. And here's the part that most people don't expect. Once you master allocation at one income level, scaling it up to a higher income becomes almost automatic. If you can allocate a $60,000 income properly, you can allocate a $200,000 income properly. The framework is the same. The percentages might shift slightly, but the structure stays the same. This is why some people can jump from $60,000 to $200,000 and continue building wealth without missing a beat. They already have the skill. They're just applying it at a larger scale. But most people don't have this skill. So when they get a raise or earn more money, they just increase their spending proportionally. Their income goes up 50%, but so does their expenses. They're running the same hamster wheel, just faster. And they end up just as broke as before, just with a nicer car and a bigger apartment. The people earning $200,000 and building real wealth understand that income is temporary, but allocation is permanent. You could lose your job tomorrow. Your income could drop. But if you've mastered allocation, you can adapt to a lower income and still build wealth. That's resilience. That's financial security. That's what actually matters.
Here's what I want you to do. Stop thinking about how much you need to earn. Start thinking about how you're allocating what you already earn. If you're not hitting these 7 steps in order, you're leaving money on the table. You're making it harder than it needs to be. You're basically trying to build wealth with one hand tied behind your back. The skill of income allocation isn't taught in schools. It's not taught in most jobs. It's not even taught in most personal finance books because it sounds too boring. But it's the single most important skill between you and $200K in net worth. More important than picking stocks, more important than side hustles, more important than negotiating salary. Because none of those things matter if you don't know how to allocate money properly. So start today. Write down your take-home income. Calculate your essential expenses. Add up what you're currently spending on everything else. Compare it to where it should be going according to proper allocation. You'll probably find that you're way off. That's not a problem. That's awareness. That's the first step to changing everything. The people earning $200K and building wealth aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They just understood one skill that you probably haven't mastered yet. And now you know what it is. The question is, are you going to do something about it?